Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet with Norfleet Integrated Solutions. And it is my pleasure to have with me a fellow Leadership Jacksonville alumni, Wayne Clark, candidate for Jacksonville Sheriff. Welcome, Wayne.
Thank you, Wendy.
So, Wayne, you've had 40 years of service in the community.
Yes.
You've been an FBI
National Academy graduate. Yes.
National Academy graduate. You've worked in the Sheriff Department, correct?
Yes, for 30 years.
So after 40 years of community service, what made you want to run for Jacksonville Sheriff?
When being born here in Jacksonville, I love the city. I love the Sheriff's Office. I put 30 years of my life into the Sheriff's Office, leaving there to go to the airport for almost 4 years as their chief of police, and then coming to the school system, working in their police department up to the police chief until this past September. When I look at the Sheriff's Office and the future, Jacksonville is at a crossroads when it comes to law enforcement. I think that what we need at the Sheriff's Office is consistent leadership with a good vision is how to move the agency even further down the road. The Sheriff's Office is a very good, great agency. I think we just need more vision to make it an even greater agency. If I sit on the sideline and not get in the game, I can't affect change in the game. So I put myself out as a servant to the community to help guide the Sheriff's Office as we take law enforcement to the next level.
So, as you know, especially, since the pandemic, it seemed like things have gotten a little bit heated, Black Lives Matter, things like that. There's been, pros and cons about the Sheriff's Office. I have some great friends there. So, I can see sometimes both sides, but how would you impact that? A lot of times people think that the Sheriff's Office, they hide everything. And obviously from the Sheriff's point of view, there are certain things you really can't share until the case is made.
That is true. So in my 40 years, when I look at the totality of my career, I've summed it up into 5 principal pillars that I would run on as sheriff.
Okay.
Trust, accountability, accessibility, compassion, and transparency. When I talk to people, perceived or not, the biggest issue people seem to be there a lack of trust between the agency and the community. Trust is about building a relationship. That same relationship, like with two people, when you first meet a person and through conversation, you learn to trust each other. Mm-hmm. And with that trust, you begin to hold each other accountable. And with accountability comes accessibility. And because of all that, now we have compassion to want the best for you, you want the best for us, and we become transparent in our communications and processes. So as a sheriff, as we do anything in the community, the question we always will ask ourselves, does this add trust between the community and the agency? The answer is no, we won't do that. Does it add accountability? Does it add accessibility? Does it add compassion? And does it add transparency in all of our processes and communications?
So let me ask you something. Having been in executive leadership in a couple of industries, sometimes while we want that transparency, while we want that, we cannot always provide that at certain levels. And I'm sure you're aware.
Yes.
I have found that if I can tell the people that report to me, at this time I'm not able to share, even if they want answers, that's better than saying nothing.
I agree.
And so while I definitely would love to see more transparency, I also realize there are sometimes, I have family in law enforcement, that sometimes you just can't be transparent.
Absolutely, especially when there's an active investigation. Certain things require by statute that we keep confidential until the investigation is over. So we'll comply with those. But a lot of times people just want to know, if you can explain your policy to me, why do you do the things that you do? I think that we can be more transparent and allow them a voice in the process, because the way we do something today may be required a different process in the future. So as we evolve, allowing people a voice in the process and an understanding of how we do things.
Now, I do agree with you there, because a lot of times people just need to understand why things are being done. It's not necessarily to share, that they have to know every step of the way, but they want to know why.
Why?
So they can know, okay, this makes sense. I understand now.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you're running for sheriff and you want to make a difference. What do you see your biggest obstacle to that?
building that trust in certain communities of the city. You know, some people say, well, it can't be done. I disagree. It can be done. We must start. And I think that is high visibility. Every neighborhood doesn't require the same amount of attention. So we need to tailor our approach to those neighborhoods that need additional attention. Not that we're going to put extra police officers. My job, I believe as sheriff, is to go out and find out what is it that you need and you want in your community. And almost like a doctor writing a prescription, we tailor our approach to make sure that we give you what's needed for your neighborhood. You know, I can go out with an assumption of what I think you need, but with communication, we find out that some neighborhoods need more visibility. Some neighborhoods may need something like this. So whatever those things are, we provide that. There's not a one size fit all.
Okay, I agree with that. I'm from Michigan, and so I know one of the things, and I knew my police department and in the schools. I was very active in the schools, and so the police came in there. They were partners. We didn't have police in the schools like we do now, but they would come in there. They would talk to the students. So the students got to actually see and understand the policy. And you're right. So it puts a different spin on their relationship with the police. And so I think that is needed here. I think that in many neighborhoods, the police need to be, you're my partner, not against, we're not playing against each other.
Right. We're together.
Right.
We can be pro-police and pro-community at the same time. People love the police. People want the police. People need the police. But as police agencies, we need to be more compassionate as we interact with people. You know, back growing up, we had the officer friendly program. You know, everybody said that the officer is your friend. How can we go back that when you see an officer, you're more likely to want to approach that officer because we are the friends of the community.
Right. I agree 100%. And so once again, you're standing on trust, accountability, accessibility, compassion, and transparency.
Absolutely.
So Wayne, if someone wants to learn more about these 5 pillars and or make a donation, where do they go?
They can go to my website. It's Wayne Clark for Sheriff 2023.com.
Okay.
And all my information is there.
Okay. So Wayne, I wish you much success in your
Thank you very much.
Campaign, your run for sheriff, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Wendy. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of On a Mission. To learn more about Wayne Clark, candidate for Jacksonville Sheriff, please go to iwannabuzz.com, and we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.